Welcome to another episode of Drinking After Dark, a podcast where we discuss random topics while having a few drinks. I'm your host, Darius, and as always, drink responsibly. And y'all make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to Drinking After Dark podcast YouTube channel. Tonight, I'm not drinking on anything tonight, man. I'm just drinking on some juice tonight. And we're gonna get into this topic, man. But before we get started, man, hope everybody had a great great weekend. Hope everybody was safe and everything like that. So I hope everybody was doing well. All right, y'all. So now let's get into this topic, man. Uh we here now. We here. The NBA finals is here. It is set. All right. Uh you could say these two teams, definitely one team was definitely a surprise. The other team, not so much. Even though you had a lot of experts saying that this team wasn't going to make it to the finals. You had some that said they were. Yeah, others that didn't say it, but the match is set. Do you have the OKC Thunder versus the Indiana Pacers? All right. So I know a lot of people were talking about these two teams, ratings, things that this and the third, so much, right? Excuse me. But these are the two teams that's left standing. They're going to battle it out for NBA championship, um, which is going to be the first in franchise history for both teams. Um, for the Indiana Pacers, they have never won an NBA championship. I think they won ABA, but they never won NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Was the Seattle Supersonics before the team was bought out and moved to Oklahoma City, changed the name to the Thunder. Back when they were the Supersonics, they did have the NBA championship that was led by the late great Dennis Johnson, who went on to have a Hall of Fame career with the Boston Celtics, their point guard. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the last time this team was in the NBA Finals was against the Miami Heat. This is back when you had Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Serge Ibaka. You know, uh, I mean, you can say Kendrick Perkins was on that team because he was. Um, so you had that team. The last time the Indiana Pacers was in the final, some of y'all wasn't even born yet, but this was what was this 2001? Was it 2000? It was early 2000s, all right. With Reggie Miller, you had Jalen Rose that was on that team. So that was the last time these franchises was in the finals. And you know what? I don't know about the casual fans out there, but for the diehard fans, um, you should be excited. I'm gonna tell you why I'm excited. One, I think really not really from a basketball standpoint, but from a well, yeah, let's keep it as a basketball standpoint. This is really going to shine a light of the new upcoming, young superstars, right? SGA, this year's MVP, led the team to the best record in the league with 68 wins this season for the Thunder. They had a tough series with the Nuggets, won seven games, but after that, pretty much, man, they just did their thing. Now they're in the finals. That team is deep. You know, they play defense. You talking about, you know, not only one of the best defensive teams, but you think about what they do offensively as well. But everything starts with their defense. So you have the Oklahoma City Thunder, then you have the Indiana Pacers, right? A team that's very exciting, team that likes to get up and down. What you saw in these playoffs with the Cavaliers and you saw it with the Knicks, if you're gonna beat this team, you're gonna have to beat this team for 48 minutes. It can't be it cannot be for like 46 minutes. You got to beat this team for the whole 48 minutes because they're going to continue to play. All right, they're gonna continue to play till there's no more time left. And you saw it in the Cavaliers series when they had that big comeback late in the pretty much towards the end of the game, they had that big comeback against the Cavaliers that pretty much just gave that game away. And you saw it with the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Um, so I think you have two teams, young, hungry. You got a lot of players that want to make a name for themselves. You got these players, they're looking at this like, hey, this could be your one and only chance to win a championship. So you're gonna have two teams that's gonna go hard at each other. Pause, but they're gonna go at each other. They're gonna, really bring their game. So it's all about who's gonna really impose their style on each other. And defensively, both teams play defense. Let's just call it what it is. Both teams play defense. Both teams want to turn the ball over, get out, run. If you look at the OKC Thunder, I think they're better more in the half court than the Pacers. But Pacers, they're deep too. I mean, they could go deep as well. And it's gonna be a fun series. I don't know. You got people talking like, oh, this is not what the NBA wanted. This is gonna be the lowest rating finals and all of that. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. I mean, it possibly will because when it comes to like basketball, in a sense, not so much the NFL, but basketball, it's really about the big market teams, right? You could have teams, I don't know, let's just say if you have the Cardinals and the Bengals in the Super Bowl, people would still watch the Super Bowl because it's an entire event within itself, right? When it comes to the finals, it's star driven. The NBA is a star driven league. And the fact that they have been, when you're talking about the superstars in the NBA, talking about over the last 20 years, right? LeBron James, look at Steph Curry, who else? Luca. I mean, they talk about the same players, same teams over and over again. And I think that what this series is going to do is going to um, the fans to start to realize, like, hey, LeBron is pretty much out. He's on his way out the door. Steph Curry, he's going to be behind him. Even though he could play a couple more years, but he's going to be behind him. So now you got to look at this new era of talent. You got Anthony Edwards, you have Luka Doncic, you have SGA who just won the MVP. You have Halliburton who's a star, who's a star and everything. He was voted one of the most overrated. Well, in the playoffs, he's been clutch in the playoffs. Let's just call it what it is. All right. So he used that as motivation. He's going to continue to use that as motivation. This series to me, man, it's gonna be exciting. I don't think it's gonna be boring. I don't think it's gonna be a close series because you got two teams, that haven't been there. Now, each team does have a champion on their teams. You look at Caruso for the Thunder, he won the title with the Lakers. You have Siakam who won the title with the Raptors. So you got, at least guys in on teams that could, you know, guide them and, help them with their experience, being this far and winning the championship. So I just feel like this series for everybody saying nobody's gonna watch it. You're not a real fan if you're not gonna watch it. You're just a casual fan who like a certain player. You don't really like certain team. I mean, like, listen, if you're a real basketball fan like me, you should definitely be excited about this series because now we're not forced to talk about LeBron James anymore. That whole GOAT debate, which I think should completely stop with the whole GOAT debate. They're talking about it 1,000 times a year. Who cares? It's over with. You choose who you want to choose. You talk about Steph Curry, you talk about the Lakers, you talk about the Celtics and Knicks, these teams in these big markets. But now you got two small market teams playing in the NBA Finals with the league's MVP, SGA, and a guy who has been so clutch in the playoffs in Halliburton, why wouldn't you not get excited about it? Why would you wouldn't? And I believe this series is gonna go 6 games. Who would I choose as the favorite? I would have to say the Thunder. I think the Thunder are to me, I think they're gonna win the 6. If the Pacers win, I would not be surprised because they have been proving people wrong so far this whole postseason. I won't be surprised, but I don't think these games will be blowouts. They'll probably be close games. You might have a game or so that might be a blowout, but overall, I believe that these games going to be real close. I think they're going to be real exciting. And as a basketball fan, this is something you look forward to. The sports media, they try to downplay this because they say, well, this is not what the NBA wanted. I personally believe this is what the NBA needs because now you're starting to shine a light on other players, other teams. Obviously, we look up, like I said, I just mentioned LeBron, I mentioned um, Steph Curry. Look at Giannis, Jokic, um, who else? Luca, Anthony Edwards. You only got a handful of superstars, but that doesn't mean the next crop is not coming up. And this is going to be their showcase. They're going to show the world, like, yeah, we for real. Y'all don't pay attention to us. Like a lot of people didn't pay attention to OKC. A lot of the sports and media talk, they didn't pay attention to OKC because they didn't believe that they were going to go to the finals. Obviously, nobody had Indiana go to the finals either, but they're in the finals and they deserve to be there, just like the Thunder deserve to be there. So I believe this series is going to go 6 games. Thunder winning in 6. SGA will be the Finals MVP because here I think this is also the difference too. SGA, I think he both teams will rely on the others. I think they have that trust amongst each other that you look at Halliburton. He's a pure point guard essentially. He's going to trust the others. Of course, you got Siakam, you got Turner out there. They got a great shooter on their team as well. But also, you look at the OKC Thunder. It's pretty much the same thing. But I think the difference is that OKC they do have a go-to guy in SGA. A guy who doesn't put up a lot of threes, a guy who likes to get to the mid range and shoot the mid range. He still got that old school feel to his game, which in the playoffs is kind of what you need. You don't need to jack up all these threes and then you're gonna win. No, you got to go get you twos. Layups, mid range. Just to keep it going. To at least keep you in contention. And then they do got guys that can shoot the three as well. I think Williams. I think he's gonna be a key like Siakam. I think those two guys gonna be real keys. But really, it just boils down to which team could, play their game the best, right? Because both teams are they have a deep roster to where they could play guys. You might see Indiana play 10 guys. You might see Oklahoma City, excuse me, Oklahoma City Thunder play 10 guys. So they have depth, and I think that's what's going to be so exciting about this series. I'm gonna look forward to it. I don't know about you guys. I'm definitely gonna look forward to this. Y'all let me know in the comments, man. Uh, who y'all got in this series? Who y'all picking? Who's gonna be Finals MVP? Um, do you believe OKC is gonna win? Do you believe the Pacers gonna win? Indiana Pacers. So let's y'all let me know. Let me know how y'all feel about this. Again, I'm very excited. You got two teams. You look at OKC, man, what they do offensively and defensively, and you look at what Indiana they especially do offensively. You look at what they do offensively, man. They put up points, and they're gonna play all the way to the end. So just because you got a 15-point lead with 2 minutes left in the game, don't mean you're safe against the Pacers. So we'll just see how that goes. Um, but yeah, yeah, and I think this series is going to prove a lot of the media personnel wrong. Because of course, you don't have like the big names, but I think this is good for the NBA personally because now you're not so focused on, oh well, LeBron's not playing, we're not going to watch it. When's the last time LeBron been in the finals? Oh, who else? Steph Curry. He's not playing. He ain't been in the finals the last couple seasons. All right. So I think this is good for the league. You got two small market teams with tremendous talent, with two great coaches on this team. So I think that's gonna be and it's gonna really, with every series, it's gonna come down to coaching, adjustments, and which team can play their game. All right. So we'll see. But once again, I have the oh, excuse me. I have the Oklahoma City Thunder winning in 6 games. I think these games are gonna be highly competitive. And I won't be surprised if we see one blowout win. I think we'll probably get that as well, one blowout win, but I think the rest of the games is gonna be real close. It's gonna come down to crunch time in these games. So we'll see what happens with that. All right. Also, with breaking news out the NBA, the Knicks fired their coach, Tom Thibodeau, which is very shocking to a lot of people. You were just in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now you get fired. Now, I would say this. This has happened before. I'm not talking about with the Knicks, but when a coach led their team to the conference finals, they get let go right after that. It's happened. If y'all remember Memphis, that team, you have Mike Conley, you had Marcus Gasol, Zach Randolph, Tony Allen. You had that team. They made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. I think that actually that was the year the Thunder made it to the finals, if I remember correct. They fired their coach. They fired their coach right after that. I'm like, this man got you this far, and you haven't been back since, really, right? And here you are firing the coach, and he got you to the conference championship game. To me, this firing was unexpected. I also believe that, some people, yeah, you knew what type of coach it was getting. We all know he runs his players to the ground. Wherever he went, players fatigue later on in the season, postseason, is the reason why they don't really go as far. You got a lot of people who will blame Thibodeau for Derrick Rose's injury, right? You got yeah, this season alone, you had Bridges complaining about the amount of minutes he's playing. He's not using his bench. Y'all knew the type of coach y'all was getting. Now I don't know if if we know if he could go 8, 9, 10 deep. We don't know unless he's like, oh, you forcing my hand because we got foul trouble. Um, we could do that. But this team, I think this team in a way kind of they made it to where they made it. I wish they would have given him another year, personally, to see how it actually goes. Obviously you need to change up your offense. The offense too predictable. Defensively, I mean, you gave up a lot of pieces, right? You gave up a lot of pieces to get a couple of guys that you wanted, which in a way kind of compromised your team quite a bit. Not only right now, but also in the future as well. And yeah, they look tired physically and mentally. Look tired. Um, I think that's why you need the regular season. I mean, in the regular season, play your guys. Obviously, we know when it comes to the postseason, you're going to shorten your rotation and everything like that. But in the regular season, 82 games, man, just go ahead and you know play these bench guys. Okay, you got a 3 games in 5 nights. Your third game in the fifth night. Play these bench guys. See what they got. Build up their confidence. And also offensively, you know, come on, you got to change your offense. We all know defensively kind of take a step back, even though you're known as a defensive minded head coach. Took a step back defensively because it just wasn't there. I don't think you have, in terms of your starting lineup, Brunson's not really a good defender. Cat, I don't know. It seems like he plays defense when he wants to. So you're really banking on a couple of guys to really dictate your defense. Um, so they really wasn't there defensively, but they decided to make this change, and we'll see how it goes from there. But I don't really agree with the call of letting him go, give him another season. Maybe bringing the offensive coordinator to help with that offense, get the ball out of Brunson's hands, let everybody else get involved, and we'll just see how it goes from there. We'll just really see how it goes from there. Um, First off, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in with me tonight. Uh, I'm having so much fun doing this, so thank you guys for tuning in with me. Don't forget to follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, please like and subscribe to the channel. You can also catch Drinking After Dark podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever you listen to podcasts, man. You can always catch it on there. If you have any suggestions to what I should drink, please let me know. I'll give it a try and everything like that. You never know. I might add it to the collection. Just don't know. All right. Until next time, I'm Darius from Drinking After Dark. I'm out. Peace.